This is the solve video for Rainbow Road. This box was also solved by Chris Ramsey, so if you've not seen his video, I'll link to it. He solved it pretty quickly, and it was so fun to see him solve our puzzle. So I'll link to that. You guys can watch that, subscribe to him, like the video. So here we go. First thing you want to do is, before I get started, I'm actually going to talk about a couple of the differences in this box. We gave him our original box, so this one has a few modifications. It works exactly the same way, there's just a few changes. First difference that you've probably noticed is this colorful rim, and it sits just on the top side of this door. So if you want to make this change in your own build of Rainbow Road, this is a really good spot to make it because this was pretty much just plates along that entire side, so it was an easy swap. Also, in this box, we're not using two doors that are 1 high. This is just one door that's 3 long and 2 high, but same exact concept. There's a lot of colorful doors out there that are a little bit cheaper than these white ones. The white ones can be hard to find. But there's a lot of options for that. Also, you may have noticed that we swapped out this slider and those sliders for Frankenbricks. Again, if you've not seen the video for Frankenbricking, I'll post to that also so you know what I'm talking about. But essentially we just took 1x2 bricks and removed the center tube so they act like sliders now. Also, I didn't have the same pieces in the original build, so this window is a little bit different and the gear is a little bit different because, again, we gave Chris our best box and this one had to have a few modifications. There are a few on the inside too, but I'll explain those when I get to those. So first up, you want to open the door and take out the tool. That one's pretty obvious, but there's this secret slider inside there. So if you can see, it's just this top one here, right there. And you want to press that and that will pop out the axle. And then you put the, I don't know what this piece is called, but you put the tool on there so that you can rotate this axle. And here comes another change as I spin this. As you can see, it kind of has a propensity to like go over there. So in this one, I modified this key just slightly so that it is more L-shaped. It doesn't have the extra bump. I was hoping that that would help prevent this from just kind of torquing in that direction, but it works pretty much the same as the original build. So if we pull those all the way out, actually we don't want to pull them all the way out. We want to pull them halfway. So where that rail meets that 1x1, we're going to push them in to there and stop. At this point, you can decouple these two sliders, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to shift it over. That allows this gear piece to move independently of that one, and it lets it go a little bit further than if they're coupled. So as I shift this one, it's gonna pop out the brick on the other side. So there it goes. Okay, next, I'm going to recouple these two by sliding it over, and I'm going to extend it all the way. So in order for this to work, we need these ones to be all the way out, and we need this piece on this side to be all the way out. When that happens, then we can push this button here. And when we release it back, it drops down that center piece. Now, if the lid's not sliding off, sometimes the tool, just depending on which way you put it on to begin with, will get in the way. So we'll just take that off and slide off the lid. Okay, so you can see here that my gear is a little bit different. That was another change. And I also had to remove this piece here. I think it has a purple tile that sits on top, but this gear was a little bit thicker to where when it was in this position, the starting position, it was bumping on that gear. Now for the reset. So the first thing you want to do is take the lid, slide the lid on, and then push this button up so it's flush. Next, you want to take the slider piece, which for mine are these white ones, but for yours, they're probably the translucent sliders without the center tube. Push it in, and while that's pushed in, we're gonna push in this one. That will lock that center one, the center button in place. So now we can push these ones in, push that in. If this is extended, we'll push that one in too. Replace the tool and shut the door, and then it's ready. All right, I'm gonna solve it one more time, this time with the lid off. So I'm gonna jump to the lid being off. Okay, now I'm gonna solve it with the lid off. I think it's easier to see the mechanics. So if you ever get stuck with the lid off and everything's already in the starting position, you can always remove this 2x2 brick and then put your lid on and then replace that brick. It's easier than having to go through and solve everything again. So just a side note if that ever happens to you. So first we are going to open up the door, get the tool out, and then as we push this slider, it will push this axle there so that we can actually put the key onto the axle. So that pushes, that slides over to push this part out. And then I'm just gonna put the tool on. Now, if I try to go in this direction, it won't really go, so I'm gonna go in the direction that it allows. And then that gear slides that out. And I'm gonna put it out one length, so just that tile there. And then I'm going to decouple that. And that just slides this piece over under this part here. So next I'm gonna bring this back and push out this brick on that side. And next, so that cleared, this is the duck piece, that cleared this part of the duck. But under here, this piece is still blocking it. So if we bring this back, recouple those pieces and extend them all the way out. Now, when we press this button in and push it back, it will move the duck. Whereas previously the duck was blocked by this slider and these sliders. So we're gonna push that in. And now the friction of that piece will be enough to slide it back. And it will drop that center piece. You need to make sure that these pieces are all the way extended. If they're blocking just a little bit, like if this one looks like it's mostly out, but it's just a little bit in, when I push that, it won't move the duck. So we wanna make sure they're all the way out. And these ones here are often the culprit, it's less this one and more those ones. So if we push that in, push it back, now that center one drops and we can remove the lid. So the reset, I already showed you the reset. Okay, so that's the solve of Rainbow Road.